Time to let it rip. On the panel tonight, she's an activist and organizer, the chair of the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization, and a lifelong defender of human rights. Maureen Taylor is here. Next to her, a former contractor, worker, husband, father, defender of the Constitution, the founder and leader of the Willow Run Tea Party, Dennis Moore. And then there's a man some call the most fearless reporter in town. He's never afraid to confront a crook, a politician, or even wear a dress. Charlie LeDuff is here. And as always, the star of the Charlie Langton Show on 1270 AM, the man who knows everything, or at least thinks he does, Charlie Langton. Thank you all for being here right now. All right, the movement to Occupy Wall Street coming to Detroit. And now, Maureen, a lot of the protesters have long hair, are young, but some of them are like us, gray hair, long in the tooth there. Sure. What's going on here?
The Occupy Wall Street component has arrived in Detroit because I believe that they're reacting. We're not principals in this, but they're reacting to what they see as an assault against the quote-unquote American dream. These are folks that I hear who have gone to school, have taken up trades. Some have finished service in Afghanistan and Iraq, and they're back, and they can't find a job. They can't stay in their homes. Things are so difficult for them, and they continue to be, quote-unquote, pushed to the margins of society. So I believe that they're here. These are the children of the American working class that have shown up in Detroit to say Wall Street here is also a bad thing, dealing with this corporate greed. So I believe that that's why they're here.
Dennis, you're a founder and leader of the Tea Party, and yet you were one of the people who was essentially forced out of work. You were a contractor, drywall contractor. Those jobs are gone right now, and yet you see a different solution. Do you see any parallels between the Tea Party and this Occupy Wall Street movement?
I don't see a come-by-y'all moment, but I do see some parallels. Vince Wade's a friend of ours. We have some coalition.
Former reporter at Fox, too, yes.
Yeah, and he challenged us to find similarities. And my first impression to that was, as I viewed the far left influence of the folks that are protesting Wall Street, I called them naked socialists. Now, that was my first impression. The point of it is, they're not all that. But some of them are exactly that, literally.
More naked than socialists.
Yeah.
You'll be there.
But the point Vince Wade was making is worthy of consideration, because I personally know that we have some common ground. Maureen and I have been talking about 45 minutes before the show, and we have discovered that there is enough common ground to have conversation about. And when you lose the ability to discuss it, we all lose.
For sure.
Bottom line. Yeah. Charlie, you've written an article about this in Off the Chain. You can, by the way, view it at myfoxdetroit.com. But how do you see this movement? Is it the opposite sides of the same coin?
Yeah, look, everybody's pissed off in this country. We're losing everything. So, Tea Party, what we're going to call, what's the name we want to give these people?
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupiers? Okay.
Occupiers.
It's lost. Big government has failed the people and given it to big corporations. They sent our jobs away. They gambled away our future. And we don't know what to do. So basically, it seems to me, if you're going to boil it down, the Tea Party people say less government, less spending. The occupiers are saying more government, more spending. We want debt forgiveness. We want a living wage even if you don't work. We want free education. We want everything. We don't have the money. On the other side, the Tea Party says cut it all. But if you cut it all, what kind of society does that leave? How do we work our way out of it? So is it unfettered government or unfettered markets? Somewhere in the middle, I think, is where the answer is.
Now, the leaders of the Tea Party movement and the leaders of the Occupy movement were invited here. Of course, Dennis showed up, but the Occupy Wall Street movement did not. They did speak to us by phone. They said that they did not want to speak to us on Let It Rip tonight because there is a basic mistrust of the media.
And that's correct.
But they did speak to Charlie Langton. One of them did, at least, called into your radio show. What did he say?
Well, I don't know they had a distrust with the media. Actually, I did talk to one of the members organizing this particular group. I thought they were very articulate. I think the point there is that they don't like corporations, and they have a distrust of any type of big corporation. And they told me that they were against the bailout of Chrysler and General Motors. And I said, well, wouldn't that have created jobs? Didn't that preserve jobs in Detroit here? And they said, well, it doesn't matter. It's corporation. They don't like that. So I'm a little, I can't really get the focus. It seems to me Tea Parties want to cut government spending. It's government that they don't like. And the Occupy Wall Street crowd, they just don't like corporations. And it doesn't make sense to me.
Maureen, that's what makes it so hard for us to understand, those of us who are looking at this from afar. We're not sure what they want.
See, the problem is that, we're trying to analyze this and put it into a box that we're familiar with. And this is a different kind of a situation here. These are the children of the American worker. And they're not saying I'm the opposite of the Tea Party or I'm the opposite of the Republican Party. They're not saying that. They're saying there's something wrong with the way our government and our country is moving. So we're not looking at, or they're not looking at, it's a Republican fight or a Democratic fight. They're analyzing down here. Why don't we have a place to live? I heard what you said, and it's a very interesting concept in terms of how do we manage big government, big spending. The role of government is supposed to be to manage the country, not manage politicians staying at a job.
In fact,
but hold on, darling, hold on, I'm coming your way.
Right.
But the very piece of information that me and this gentleman were able to talk about is that we have to manage a government structure where people are not starving, where they're not dying, where we can get the brilliant reports that he gives. When we call 911, the truck comes. How simple can it be? So they don't fit into what we usually think. They're doing something different. This is a leaderless movement, and they're searching to find the exact words. But right now, the concept is corporations are taking our lives, and they're trying to define.
But you get a job. If a corporation gave the Occupy Wall Street a job, I would think they'd take it. Well, that's the problem. The Tea Party, they're trying to elect candidates that at least have a philosophy like the Tea Party. Cut taxes, cut government. But these Occupy Wall Street people, I don't know what they're talking about.
But is either answer the solution, Dennis?
Well, there's an answer to the solution, and I would like to first take exception to Charlie, his connotation of those people.
Which one?
Yeah, wait a minute. Talk to me, not to him. Talk to me, man.
Okay.
If you take exception, talk to me.
Okay, those aren't those people. Those are
which one are you talking about?
The Occupy Us people.
Right.
They are our people. They are Americans.
Well, what did I call them?
You call them those people.
Well, for this movement, you understand what I'm saying.
I do, but
man, you're just splitting hairs now.
Splitting hairs?
Don't pick a fight.
Okay,
well, they're my people.
Okay, they're your people.
Yeah.
They're our people. And this is the point. If we can't have a discussion about our differences and keep it to a point of ability to discuss without losing it, we all lose. I don't agree with the direction that Occupy Wall Street is going. I don't agree with their tactics, but there are things I do agree on. It's going to surprise people to know.
Did they not do some of the same things that the Tea Party did? When we first saw the Tea Party, we portrayed them. I think we put them in, lumped them in one category, saying that they're people with signs. Some of them are bigots. Some of them are just offensive in their language.
We have our bigots.
And yet, the Tea Party was able to create from that anger a movement that has taken over the Republican Party, some would say.
Hugh, you brought a point up, and I would like to let me first say that I'm a activist for the Will Run Tea Party Caucus, and I do not speak for all the Tea Party people. You know, and that's part of our strength, by the way. We have no established leader. We have a lot of pockets of different Tea Party groups.
Leaderless movement, another one.
Yeah, we are a leaderless movement, but we lead with passion. A lot of times my passion gets there way before I do and gets me in trouble.
But that's the same. But do we see that with this group? They have leaders who deny that they are leaders, and we have yet to see that movement coalesced into some sort of political action.
Well, who's leading any of these movements here? They're all rogue, going all
unless these people vote, I'm sorry, they can shout and wave signs all they want.
That's disingenuous anyway. The Tea Partiers are Republicans. They are economically conservative Republicans. They caucus with the Republicans, they vote with the Republicans, and they drive the Republicans'
Can I speak to that?
Exactly.
And yet not all Tea Party members support Republicans when it comes to election day.
Well, I want us to get back to this conversation about the naked socialists. So far, I haven't seen anybody with no clothes on.
Yeah, right.
But really, the issue
you like to?
is I haven't seen that. I have not seen that.
Yeah,
but clearly, what the issue is here, and it's nebulous. Okay, these are young people, and some that are not so young, that are talking about there is an assault on our civility. There is an assault on our future. There is an assault on our capacity to live a certain kind of way. And there's something wrong. For the last couple of days, I've been attending something called the Veterans Stand Down, where we've got veterans who are homeless. unconscionable. But we have all this. And why do we have homeless veterans at the same time? We have 70,000 houses that are standing empty. And that's what the issue is. And that's what
I think it's interesting, no matter where you sit on it, no matter where you sit, there, everybody in this country knows we're in deep trouble.
Yes.
And everybody agrees that in some way the government needs to take a major role in digging us out of it.
For sure.
Period. No matter where you're at.
As we saw in New York City, there were instances of violence. There were confrontations between police and the protesters at a little private park near Wall Street. I don't think we're going to see that in Detroit.
Well, it's the same clip over and over. Actually, I talked to a lot of people that were there, a lot of reporters, a lot of people camping out. It was pretty peaceful.
Just that one case.
Well, look, we keep seeing the same guy, so let's not overstate this.
Well, they've also blocked the Brooklyn Bridge too, though, and some of the Occupy Wall Street people are spending overnights in the public park, which is not maybe mainstream. It's certainly not. You lose a little credibility. I don't remember Tea Party people getting arrested. I don't remember Tea Party people spending overnight in sleeping bags and doing what young people do sometimes in the sleeping bags. Maybe they did. I don't recall it.
Does that make it a social?
May I take the opportunity to assert an opinion in this matter of the General Motors bailout? We started to hit on it, and we were against it. And there has been Republicans who have paid for that. But the thing that they say is it created jobs. Yes, it did create jobs. The problem is it created jobs in China. It might have created some here, but the SAIC in China is that's General Motors backed, and they have a partnership with China. They're building electric cars, and they're going to bring them here across a bridge, which my friend and I both agree on. The government
We don't want a bridge.
We don't want a bridge. We don't want a government-owned bridge.
Man, I am for that bailout because we wouldn't have any manufacturing jobs left.
And look,
because the government let them be shipped overseas, and they changed the banking laws, and we're sitting here like this.
By the way, we have a statement from Mayor Dave Bing and Police Chief Ralph Godfrey. They are saying tonight that the Occupy Detroit rally should create no problem. We are working to ensure that all citizens are able to assemble and express themselves peacefully and in accordance with the law. In other words, we're not going to bust any heads, but we are going to ensure safety. I have an admission to make. When I was in college, I demonstrated. I protested against apartheid in South Africa. I was almost arrested. I went to the president's house. I demanded a decrease in tuition. But after I got my diploma and graduated, I cut my hair and I got a job in a bank.
And that's what you were supposed to do.
President was
and that's what you were supposed to do. And that's what's going to happen here.
We would
the
like to see those opportunities come back.
People are bringing this fight to Detroit for a reason, and that's because of all of the cities, certainly all of the states. We have lost the most in terms of population. 50% of all the jobs that left from Michigan.
And that's where the people
We've got all of this unemployment. 25,000 people that live in the city. 235,000 of them get unemployment benefits.
There's a thing that's coming.
And we shouldn't be allowing.
And my brother's pulling his teeth out with flyers.
Just give jobs.
All right.
This
is an example. We got to go on to the next subject, but this is an example of what we must do. Work together. More to come. Stay with us. We hope you'll stay with us too. Let It Rip continues. We're going to talk about the man who's now soared to the top of the latest polls. Herman Cain among the frontrunners now in the race for the GOP nomination. But does he really have a chance? Or is this just a run-up for Romney? Let It Rip. We'll be right back. Stay with us.